I was reading today Macbeth and I wanted to know how Shakespeare does relate time with Macbeth.
I think Shakespeare is trying to say us through Macbeth that human actions, thoughts, and ways of expressing themselves have changed in both positive and negative aspects. Some think that time is a gift, some think time is their worst enemy. Human beings think about time every day, even when they're asleep, even every time thinking. They're thinking about what happened when their time stops and that clock stops ticking, and their time on earth is over. Some decide to take advantage and some decide to do nothing. And some others see time as something stressing as they can't control it. Understanding your relationship with time will impact the energy you're bringing to the time, which will make each second worth. Thinking about time can be confusing and hard to deal with because time is an invented tool of the mind. The mind paints moments on canvas to record events in fixed order. Moments themselves are timeless. Time does not exist without the mind, yet reality hits when you run out of time.
What is the relationship of human being to time? Good question. In my opinion, relating it with the story Macbeth, written by Shakespeare, there are two scenes in which we could see how the characters treated time. For example, in Act 1, Scene 5, Lady Macbeth, as soon as she received the news about the prophecy, in which it stated that her husband was going to be the next king, she saw time as an enemy. We can see how in the first part of the monologue, she is looking into the future with great ambition, as she wants to become queen as fast as possible, not worrying about what could be the consequences in the future. Another act where we could relate how the characters act is in Act 5, Scene 1, in which Lady Macbeth is going insane with guilt because she's imagining things like blood in her hands because she's always thinking about the past. And by never leaving the present, she got caught up with all the guilt and remorse. So, by reading both acts, we could see how Lady Macbeth is someone who does not have patience when it comes to time.
In this story, Shakespeare tried to describe three types of characters. The characters who thought that time could cause trouble in different reactions depending on how you see time, the time was a gift, and the ones who thought that time was their enemy. For example, Lady Macbeth and Macbeth. Macbeth is a tragic hero who is visited by the witches who told him that the prophecy that he was becoming king. And Lady Macbeth, as the wife of the play tragic hero, supported him to become a king. They both wanted to have the power as soon as possible, so they saw time as an enemy, as they didn't want to wait for them to become a king. So they started acting and did what was needed to the prophecy become the reality. The rest of the characters, such as Duncan, Malcolm, and more, were characters from the prophecy that didn't affect their life and saw time as a gift because they lived their life in the present and they didn't have to worry about what could happen in the future. For example, Banquo is another general of King Duncan's army and Macbeth's best friend. While both men have an ambitious thoughts, Banquo is more cautious and doesn't know resort the murder to get what he wants, as he sees time as a friend, and knows time will do what it needs so the prophecy come true. And then they have the witches, who saw time definitely. The witches were prophets who helped Macbeth earlier in the play and predicted his ascent to kingship.
I do agree. Shakespeare's play is set in Scotland just after the end of English control, which had ruled the country since the beginning of the 9th century. Monarch James I, who became king a few years before Shakespeare's tragedy Macbeth was first produced, was honored by Shakespeare in the play. Shakespeare wanted to caution against abuse of power and the instability which come within political violence. The relation with humans and time in Shakespeare's writing is history repeating itself. The play was written to create notice and prevent disrespect or threats to the king. In the play, Macbeth kills the king, and in real time, regicide was a threat to the king. And because of the awareness raised in the play and the events of the moment, this has to do with people and time.
In conclusion, we should be patient with time. What we learn from the main characters of Macbeth is that they are people who do not have patience for time, and that is why they act carelessly. Banquo, once he hears his prophecy, he does not do anything for it to happen. Even though it excites him, he decides that what is meant to happen will happen.